All right, welcome back to another episode of Blockchain Basement. This is our exclusive Twitch show. So if you guys watch the normal morning stream, you know we're there every single day, 11:30-ish, doing the BitBoy live stream. The basement is our Twitch viewers. We love you guys, of course, and we put this show together just for you guys. I wanted to spend more time hanging out in the basement, talking with my favorite crypto people. So today's episode, we're going to be getting into a little bit of some on-chain stuff, but really looking at, has Bitcoin bottomed? Does it have lower to go? I know you hear a lot of different, mixed messages these days. We know the price was all the way up here and it's definitely fallen 70-80% almost since the yeah, we got to adjust our little Twitch logo here. Yeah, we're still working on the set. It's a work in progress.
Like a ghost.
Yeah, just the ghost hand sliding in. Today we're going to be joined by Kelly. He helps us with BitLab Academy out as kind of an on-chain analysis specialist. Also works a lot on rounding out the content here at BitBoy Crypto. Nick, you guys already know, has joined us several different times. He will probably be hosting this tomorrow in my absence. AJ, another one of our research team here. And so, yeah, these are guys that look at and research crypto projects all day, every day. They've got very valuable insights and opinions on where the market's going, and they eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. So we like to bring it to you guys. We try to keep it relaxed. I know the morning show is a lot more polished and quick, and some of this stuff, we want it to be a mixture of advanced crypto content, but we're going to have some beginner-facing and beginner-focused episodes as well. Probably work in some of the stuff we're going to have coming from BitLab Academy here in the future. And actually, fun fact, that set where Kelly's going to be shooting a lot of the BitLab stuff is just a few doors over that way. So here at the Hit Factory, we've got everything you need to make Web3 content, make it well, and hopefully help people change the world and change their lives. So welcome in our basement dwellers. I'm seeing them rolling in, all of the normal ones.
Welcome.
Riddled with puns, Razmataz. I know T Salty was saying he was going to swing by here today. So I need to pop it up here so I can really see. My eyes just are forever bad. So
all day long we're staring at charts. You know, it's just really we're gonna have chart vision here soon where you can't see anything but charts.
Hey Nick, Riddled with Puns says that he loves those shades. Where do you get those from?
They're custom.
They're custom.
One of one.
True.
Yeah.
Fresh.
Yeah.
Do you have an NFT that matches them too? Or?
I hope so. I think I'm crypto sunglasses on TikTok, and like my professional goal for next year is to be actually sponsored by a sunglass.
Oakley.
Nice.
I don't care.
Hit up this guy.
If they will make sunglasses that have crypto things on them, I will wear them.
I actually know the guy who owns Oakley.
Oh, well,
I could hit him up for you.
Bro,
I could do that for you.
Nice name drop.
But I might not. I'm just kidding.
Well, I just want to I want to start off by looking at this thing. It's kind of a optimistic, a little bit of a bullish narrative here. Bitcoin is the fastest asset to reach $1 trillion by market cap. Real quick before I show all these other ones, any guesses on another top four? Nick?
Guesses for the market cap. I mean,
fastest to a $1 trillion market cap.
Aramco, Saudi Aramco.
They're definitely up there. They're not on this list. No, they are. I mean, they're definitely one of them. Yeah. I think this one's focused on tech companies. Apple, yeah, that's one that's on there. AJ, you got a guess?
Is Tesla already there?
I believe Tesla was one of the fastest ones. They've fallen off of. Yeah, they've fallen off of it. So we'll get into it. Okay. We've got Google, Alphabet, obviously, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, and this is time to reach a $1 trillion market cap. Wow. So Bitcoin, 12 years, basically getting there twice as fast as Amazon.
Whoa! What's interesting about this chart though is the order in which the length of time it took them to reach that 1 trillion is all. I think it was consecutive to when each one of those companies initially launched. So the newer the company was, the faster they were to trill.
That is true. Yeah, it is, and that can partially be responsible to the money supply, right? We know there's a much more dollars in circulation today than there was 44 years ago when Microsoft was trying to get there and Apple. But it's just, I thought it was encouraging. It's something to be reminded about, that Bitcoin, although it might be down 70 to 80% from where it was at all-time high, it's still one of the fastest growing, best performing assets we've ever experienced in our lifetime. And likely, if you're in this age range, probably the best performing asset you will ever see hit the market in your lifetime.
Hands down.
Totally.
Yeah. And so to me, it's a huge reminder, especially in a bear market. You can question a lot of things. Things can be up and down, and you're wondering, should I really be going this hard on it? I think now it's a lot more clear that Bitcoin and blockchain is here to stay. 2018, 2019, it was, I feel like, a lot more questionable for some people if this was really going to hit, and you're wondering, should I be dedicating my whole life to this? And I would say unequivocally yes. If you dedicate your life to learning about Bitcoin, learning about digital assets and how to transfer them, how to interact with them, how to engage in these different ecosystems, it's the best way you can be spending your time right now, and it can change your life financially and fundamentally for the future. So there's a little alliteration for you.
Absolutely.
So real quick, speaking of this asset, we will touch on it. It never seems to move. It's sitting at 19,146 right now.
I love it.
Ethereum just underneath, and then you've got basically we've got the top 4 stable coins right here: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, and USDC. So,
Nice.
Just wanted to check in on those before we move to our main story today, and it's gonna be an on-chain segment. How Bitcoin on-chain signals present a solid case for the market bottom. So before we get into the signals and why this article and some of these on-chain metrics are saying we've bottomed, I just kind of want to get a group consensus here. I know narratively, we've been talking about it going lower for a while. I'll start with you, Kelly. Just give us a quick, maybe 30, 60 seconds thoughts on price as it comes to, market cycle. Has Bitcoin bottomed? Yes or no? And then we'll just work our way around.
I think by nature of regionality, I think it's bottomed. The exact lowest price it can go, I don't think it is bottomed for this cycle. I think it's, as I was mentioning before stream, I think we've bottomed on a weekly candle close scenario. However, I do think that there's going to be some washout, sort of shakeout wicks that will drop beyond 17.5, which is the current local low from June. I think we might drop out and wash people out down to somewhere between 13 and 16,000. But even if not, we have to remember you're never going to catch the exact bottom. So regionally, within a $2,000, $3,000 level, it's no reason for me not to want a DCA.
Perfect. No, that's good. And that's actually, what the first line of this article says. I'll come to you in just a second, Nick, but it says, bear markets are brutal in Bitcoin or otherwise because the bottom is only known in hindsight. The feeling that markets will fall forever creates a fear that freezes investors from buying at long-term lows, which is kind of what you're talking about, a regional low right there. So sometimes trying to time the exact bottom isn't necessarily the best approach, just getting near the bottom, similar to selling near the top. You don't need to sell, 69,420K.
Nice.
Like if you sold it at 63, you're pretty happy right now.
Yeah.
But Nick, what do you think? Bottom timeline?
Bottom timeline is not for a while. I think there's going to be at least a couple months away. I think this is the channel that we're going to be at, but there's going to be a really big reckoning in January when all these interest rates reset for all these different loans that were taken out over the past couple of years, especially adjustable rate mortgages. They all reset to 7.5% or 8% interest on January 1. And there's going to be a lot of big system shocks coming up in the next 90 to 120 days. And Bitcoin is going to continue to show resilience against the stock market. But yeah, there's, just like Kelly was saying, there's going to be some wicks that are going to crush people. So,
and to Nick's point there, I saw Dylan LeClaire, another prominent analyst on Twitter. I mean, in the whole crypto game, posted yesterday a multi-thread post of, I can't even remember, it was 7 or 8 major companies that have been founded 120 years, 150, 175, 200 years old companies that all of, in the last 24, 48 hours have posted that they're going insolvent because of all these energy issues.
Yep. Several. I think they were all German companies in that thread as well. So it's crazy to see the macroeconomic impact of all of these things. So you were saying a few months. So you're saying you think we might bottom early, after in 2023 next year? I think
Q1, the middle of Q1 2023, we'll actually find the bottom. I don't think we'll stay there. I think we'll come back up, but that's when we won't go any lower. Just because it's going to take time for all these businesses to go insolvent. Plus, you also get the Evergrande. So China gave them a 6 months extension to restructure their debt. That ends in January or I think February. So then, and who is holding the bag for a lot of that Evergrande debt? Well, it's JP Morgan, it's BlackRock, it's Bank of America. So all that's going to continue to shake out over the next 120 days. Shout out to the basement. You guys like 30 people here.
All right.
Yeah, you guys
Throw
are
in some
ground
Q&A.
floor. Ground floor entry.
Ground floor
Love
basement.
it.
That's
Love
right.
It. And if you guys have any questions you'd like us to hit, put in there who the question is for, and we will we'll try to grab it.
Is this our ISO initial show offering?
Oh gosh, I thought you were about to make like a production, like an ISO camera joke.
Yeah.
But I do see one question there, and I think we're actually going to be diving basically into that when we're discussing. The question is from chemistry bro, about some of the TA saying that we bought them, some other data saying we bought them, and that's exactly what we're going to be diving into now, and how we look at these on-chain data along with TA, so we can come up with our thesis for each individual person.
Yeah, I do want to jump in real quick. So here's the thing with looking at the TA from previous cycles is the macro. We are no longer in infinite QE mode. We are now in like a quasi QT. Apparently the Treasury is going to start doing QE, which I didn't even think was like legal. But all of that money pumping that has been around for Bitcoin's entire life, all of that is up in the air right now, and it's kind of happening, kind of not happening. So,
and like we said when we were on the live stream together, you can't look at the past to make a thing about now, because we weren't $31 trillion in debt last time.
Yeah.
So there's just so many macro factors that looking back isn't going to help you that much.
A lot of monopoly money.
Well, I would argue, I'd kind of disagree a little bit there. I
How dare
agree.
you?
I agree with the sentiment, to like not base your predictions 100% on the past. But I wouldn't, you said it wouldn't really help you that much, and I disagree. I think we've learned a lot by looking backwards at the past. I do agree the macroeconomic is differently here, and I think the standard saying is, history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And often is a key word.
That's fair.
That doesn't mean always. But even today, and you have to adjust obviously for supplies and some of these things you're talking about, but we were actually doing an analysis just recently looking at volumes at the bottom of 2018 going into 2019 and seeing the drop it had relative to what we're experiencing right now, being at the end of 2022 going into 2023. And they're very similar. The dollar numbers are different, but the percentages are very similar. So
I want to speak on that too, because somebody posted an interesting math question the other day that I think shocked a lot of people. And it's this idea that Bitcoin in typical bear markets drops somewhere close to about 85%. Okay. And we've only dropped to around 72%. So the question was, what's the percentage drop to achieve that other 15%? A lot of people don't realize to drop another 15% is an actual 50% drop from where we're at. So people really need to understand the math that goes into how these charts play out. And furthermore, in addition to that, to what AJ was just saying, I'm not keen to say that we're doing something different until we've broken the macro supports, the logarithmic growth curves that we're still holding up on. So until we break that,
that's fair.
There's nothing different yet about this cycle until we break that.
Yeah,
Well,
That's fair.
Okay.
I was going to say another word of the day we should be talking about is rehypothecation.
there you go.
That's
Yeah.
about to get real cute.
Define that.
All right.
Yeah, tell people what that was. We were talking
And
about that a
sell
little
it.
before the live
DJ's
stream.
transmogrifying us over here.
Yeah. So rehypothecation by definition is a practice where banks and brokers use for their own purpose, also the United States government, assets that have been posted as collateral by their clients, and then basically just cycle that around, because the whole thing with the bond buying market that's happening, I was like, this is.
Well, I mean, that's no different from the 2008 housing crisis, which is why the whole house of cards fell, because they're basically packaging junk mortgages with another thing and saying this is AAA.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing, just now done in financial assets that are not real estate.
So it sounds like, at least what it looks like, we're seeing the Fed raising the rates, but the Treasury buying back bonds that helps the supply, and that's more or less what you're talking about with rehypothecation. Is that how you say it?
Yeah. Well, my favorite is I was on
A lot of letters.
So we've talked about how like the magic world and everyone hates crypto, and I see everyone posting, be like, buy bonds. They're inflation proof, and you get 9%. And I was like, that's cute.
Yeah. Well, and so let's go ahead and just get into the data. I mean, you've kind of heard our opinions on where we think we've bottomed. This article here, it's a News BTC article, series of 6 on-chain indicators shout Bitcoin bottom is in. And a lot of these are things we've looked at over the past. Puel multiple here is, if Kelly, if you want to touch on what the Puel multiple is or why you like it as an indicator, I know it was put together by David Puel. Puel multiple is calculated by dividing the daily issuance value of Bitcoin, meaning the Bitcoin coming in, being issued, by the 365-day moving average of the daily issuance value.
I mean, to put that in short, it's essentially looking at going deep. Look into my eyes.
Sorry, it was there.
It's the Puel multiple is basically allows you to look at the moving average of over time of how much Bitcoin is being issued, meaning for coins to be issued, it has to do with mining and how many miners are basically competing for these I don't want to call them contracts, blocks,
Rewards.
the blocks to get the rewards. So and not only that, it takes into account the change in value of Bitcoin. So you're looking at the value of Bitcoin over time in relationship to the amount issued. So you're looking at the health of the miners, and that works very well hand in hand. Looking at some of the other on-chain stuff, like we'll go into in a few minutes, the reserve risk, the new pool, the net realized profit, loss ratios, all these things. You're looking at the transaction and the activity on chain over time in relationship also to what's happening with miners, the security spend, and also the issuance.
Yeah. So if you pull this graph back up, BJ, you'll see this is the Puel multiple, the issuance value. This is the price. The black line here is this price of Bitcoin, and you can see when this issuance drops. Generally speaking, we're near a bottom. Now here, this is when we got that fake out, and it dropped a little bit, and we went right back up. But each time we get down into this green zone, generally speaking, whether it's here, or here, has been in with dips in the price, and it moves up pretty dramatically after that. Reserve risk is the next one he mentioned. It's very similar. This is Glassnode that we use, by the way, and at the end we'll give you some other on-chain tools that you can use that are free. Glassnode is a paid service. We use it a lot. I'm sure we have an affiliate link for it if we wanted to share it, but for those of you who can't use Glassnode, we'll have some other tools for you as well. But reserve risk is defined as the price divided by the what's being held. Basically, they call it the hodl bank. It's used to assess the confidence of long-term holders relative to the price of the native coin. So
now this one is one of my favorite because, and this is one of the things we dive in deep in the on-chain course that we're building right now for BitLab Academy, and that's understanding the difference between long-term holders and short-term holders. Because long-term holders are currently defined as anybody that's been holding a coin longer than 155 days.
Oh wow!
And the reason why, and I would think it would be longer.
Yeah, I thought it used to be a year.
But statistically, once you have a coin being held longer than 155 days, it is exponentially less likely to be traded than something that's held in a short-term holder wallet. Now, there's a caveat there because there are some coins that are, for instance, if there's a wallet that everything that's ever been bought has never been sold, coins that go into that wallet can be classified as long-term holders as well, just based on the nature of the buyer or the person that's storing those coins. Now, looking at the reserve risk, when you see the oscillator go all the way to the top up into the red, that's basically showing you an overweighted market with short-term holders. Now, when you have a lot more short-term holders than long-term holders, then you have a lot more reactive market. So if there is a small pullback, then the large majority of the market, because as you see when it's in the red, it's mostly short-term holders, the market starts selling off and then cascading, and there's no long-term holder strength to buoy the market. So when it does drop down into the green, the further down in the green it is, that means the market's over. The majority of the holders are long-term holders, and those people are okay in the face of small volatilities in the market. Therefore, you build a floor, and then a bull market can emerge out of it.
Well, and that's one thing that's real interesting, just looking at this graph real quickly. You can see, like you said, with those short-term holders spiked up into the red here, that's when we got those blow-off top spikes, and then same thing here in 2017 into 2018, the short-term holders spiked up into the red, and we got that peak. Now we see in 2020 going into 2021, we never really got as high with the short-term holders into the red, which is why we kind of got a double top versus a blow-off top peak, which is a big part of the reason why a lot of people weren't expecting this to just trickle all the way down. They were expecting one more rise up there and getting that blow-off top, and it just never came. So that's another thing to keep an eye on when you're looking at these indicators. They're good for top. They call them top and bottom indicators. Obviously, right now we're looking to see if they're in that bottom zone. This one now, way below the green.
It's down further than it's ever been, and that goes back to what AJ was saying before. We've never been in an environment with this quantitative tightening and just global. People don't want to call it a recession, but let's be honest.
Yeah,
We're in a freaking recession.
Thank you.
Global bear market. And so now, I mean, all these on-chain data available is for Bitcoin. Right now, we're specifically looking at Bitcoin, but for markets that have been in bullish, basically backdrop. So even in pullbacks with Bitcoin, it's been only in small pullbacks with traditional markets. So now these on-chain data charts are showing that it's lower than it's ever been, but that there's a point of caution there, and that is that, like you said, this doesn't mean go and buy because it's low. We don't know how much further down this can go because we haven't faced these things. So you do need to take all these different data points into into your frame of reference when you're making your decisions.
Totally. 100%.
Also, like one thing about like the little part of this market where we're in, I find this phase of the market like super exciting.
Yeah.
Just based off the fact that they could bore the hell out of us for the next year.
Yeah.
And like I'm not saying it's as exciting as like a bull run on the way up.
Riveting.
But I'm saying that we're kind of at that point where people are already starting to say, hey, like I think this is the bottom. The bottom could be over in a month or two. And then I'm sitting here thinking like, well, like we could wake up and it could be 14K in a week or whatever. And it's just exciting to see like how this is going to play out, because like we don't know how long, because let me back up. This market is the whole point of it is to trick you, is to trap you, is to get you bored so you get out before the run up happens. The market makers are the most devious people on the face of this earth. And I wouldn't be surprised if like we kind of were just sideways chopped down for the next like 6 months. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
No, that would be very consistent with what we experienced in 2019. I mean, it got so boring where nothing happened. Chemistry bro in here.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, he says, Macro TA says we've bottomed, same signals as 2018 and 2015 bottoms. But macro economy says we haven't bottomed. I'm going with TA until it fails, ready for lower lows, but DCAing a fair bit. And I think I would recommend that strategy as well. Keep some dry powder, be ready for lower lows, have something on the side. If we do hit 14K, you're ready to rock. But if we don't, you're still buying, whatever it is every single week that you can afford and building up those stacks. I would recommend Bitcoin and Ethereum right now. And then once we have a confirmed bottom, we're moving back up. You can start looking for some of those altcoins or those lower cap coins to get things into. Look at that. T Salty. I like it. TJ and Kelly, the duo no one was ready for.
Right. Hey, let me answer riddle with puns. I'm mining Neoxa right now.
You are? Okay.
It's a Raven coin fork, right?
It's technically, yes. It's also a fork of Bitcoin, but yeah, it's both proof of work and proof of game. So as you play on Neoxa servers on different games, you earn the coin. So
I do want to say, because somebody, it was a chemistry bro, regarding TA, one of the things, especially in this type of market, in terms of what's happening right now with this sideways confusion to the max sort of setup, TA is very deceptive at the moment. And so I do want everybody that if you are trading on TA, for instance, if you're looking at Bulkowski's, trading sort of, on a descending triangle, it's a 64% chance of breaking to the upside, those sort of numbers. I do want to caution you on that and make sure that you are not just trading breakouts, but you're trading confirmed breakouts, whether either direction, because I've seen most consistently over this last year, any breakout, breaking out, and then whipsawing completely the other direction, and then coming back and going. So you need to wait until you get a breakout, retest, confirmation past that breakout reversal. Otherwise, you're going to be the person donating all your funds to these people that have much nicer cars.
Every economical event that we've had, like the CPI and all that stuff, whipsaw every time on the chart, always. And if you don't know what a whipsaw is, just Google it. It's very self-explanatory.
I better get into this because it's going up, and then it goes opposite direction. I better short it because it's going down. And
gnarly trap.
You're like,
well, Kelly,
I just gave all my crypto away.
Kelly, I want to ask, because it's one of those things like when you say you're playing football and you learn what the other team's doing, but say the other team lets you learn their play, so that you go for that, and they do the exact opposite. Because that seems like a lot of things that do actually happen. Like, are there really any ways of knowing that besides looking at macroeconomic things, being like, oh, Bitcoin, it's going to zero, we're totally screwed. But then you start seeing certain, sovereign countries buying Bitcoin in this dark. Is that kind of feels like that sneak attack play? And like, do you have any way of analyzing that?
There's way, and I think over time actually, because one of the things about on-chain data is it's still a very new thing because I mean, really in 2017, 2018 market, I didn't see anybody really looking into much on-chain stuff. And then the last 3 years, most specifically the last 2 years, is blown into this huge industry of analysts. But as wallet addresses start getting doxed and identified as countries or large institutions, I think there's a lot of stuff going on behind closed doors right now that's not being listed by governments, nation states,
100%.
because they don't want people to know, because they also want to be able to buy stuff at these bargain floor prices, and it
Manipulation.
changes the nature of the game if you start knowing these major companies and major nation states are buying. So they're I just say right now, you just need to play your own game. You need to invest with your own strategy, do your own diligence, and you're already far ahead of 99% of the world.
That advice right there, I think, is some really high quality advice. That's something that was a big realization for me. I mean, there's a lot of places you can get information. There's a lot of really good information out there. Do a lot of research, have your favorite resources. But at the end of the day, it's your money. It's your decision. You have to have conviction with where you're investing your money. And if you don't have that thought out for yourself, if you don't have your own strategy and you're just chasing what other people tell you, you will fail.
That's 100% true.
If you follow your own strategy, even if you fail, you will learn and you will be able to adapt it, and you'll learn to trust your gut. And I think that's the number one thing I've learned through Bitcoin, through crypto, digital assets investing is, hey, I have a pretty good gut. What I think is generally works. I'm not always right. Nobody's going to be 100% of the time, but the more you do this and the more you realize like, oh no, all that stuff that I talked about for years, it all happened and everybody thought I was crazy. Nobody understood it. They couldn't wrap their heads around it. Well, they all come around. So I think that is really, really good advice. Just develop your own strategy, follow through, and have conviction.
Like one of the best things that's worked for me, and I was talking to Taco, I won't drop the coin necessarily right now, but we were looking at something.
BJ's ready to shill.
Yeah, it's a it's an altcoin on something that I like a lot that provides something very similar to something like Chainlink and has a $4 million market cap. And for that size market cap, the circulating supply is fairly low to where like I love stuff like that, where it's like we were talking about getting it early, but it's like that's one of those things where you have to put your gut into it, where you're just like, this is going to rip, this has utility, and nobody's talking about it.
No, of course. I mean, one of the best pieces of advice I got last cycle was looking at coins and projects that had had some sort of established success, and then looking at the layer 2s and layer 3s and all these other projects and sort of the roadmap. And you can see on another coin, layer 1 that's not as developed, as they're rolling things out and they start having things built out on them, you can forecast what there's going to be based on the roadmap of other projects. Yep. And you can sort of not just pick one, but pick 2 or 3 that are in that sort of vein, diversify within that. 2 of them might go to nothing, but the one that does land will be far more significant than not having been involved.
Wasn't that a stat last year? If you put $1 into literally all 17,000 cryptos, you would have been a millionaire.
Yep. Wow. Yeah, somebody did go back and do the math on that. If you just shotgun blasted everything, you get your returns on that. Somebody says, "Who's the 5th guy? Nice to meet you." I don't know who they're referring to as the 5th guy, but
maybe it's probably this dirty hippie.
Yeah, it's BJ probably, and he's not new. He's
the
been around here
Biscuit Jesus.
Shout out to Sadarugojo, first time in the chat.
Hey.
What's up, buddy?
Yo.
And what's up to my boy Crypto Vet too?
Yeah, he just popped in there. I tried to reply to Crypto Vet, but I don't have. I'm not logged in here, so I can't reply in text.
Also, I wanted to make a dirty joke for a chemistry bro. Being like,
oh man,
don't get us canceled.
No, it's all right. This is the basement show.
I was gonna say,
you guys from Lysol.
You guys are the tetravalent bonds of crypto. You
gosh,
not me, because then
I can't believe you said that on stream.
Wow.
I cannot.
It was a
What a
carbon
nerd!
joke.
What a nerd!
Also in the chat, it
I'm
actually
being
has
carbon
gone
neutral,
away.
y'all.
It's gone. It's up there. But someone said something about shout out to JPEG Junkies. Shout out to JPEG Junkies.
right.
Hey.
Hit over a 200 ADA floor today.
Really? Wow.
Project is just popping off. In the Discord, I write the daily fix every day in the Discord. It's just a fun little update. Be sure to hit me up on the Discord, and it's JPEG Junkies has a great community. I'm stoked to be a part of that project.
Yeah, you define the the junkie community.
I'm literally the JPEG junkie.
A rehab. That's a good idea. Did you hear that? He was talking about a rehab.
We should do a rehab mint of one of the junkies
for the recovering junkies.
Oh wait, do we need to get like serums?
Yeah.
big white tee.
That's it.
Sweatpants.
Serums. You know, and then you mutate
Serums.
to like a regular,
You're clean.
a
Yeah.
clean junkie.
Wait. So
Gary
like
Gensler,
So it's just like
no, that's what I was gonna say. It's Gary Gensler with a syringe.
Janet Yellen.
and you
You get
turn
like
into
a
Justin
1-year
Williams.
coin.
Yeah.
You get a coin. Yeah, you can have a sponsor. Oh my God, this is
Dude.
great.
Yeah.
This is killer.
This
Yeah.
is great.
This is
All right,
alpha.
All right. This
Yeah,
is
I
alpha.
like this
You've
stuff.
heard it here in the basement.
Yeah.
You guys are going to get in on the mint. If we're going to snapshot this chat, you're on the whitelist automatic.
Chemistry,
Boom.
Chemistry Bro
Boom.
says he's watching from his chem lab right now.
Oh,
Yes.
Hopefully
Time to
you've
cook.
got a
What are you
Bunsen
cooking,
burner
bro?
and Some,
It's time
legal
to cook.
chemicals.
yeah. Gotta.
Oh, you want to
Love
talk about
this.
horrible charts to read when you're learning how to read NMRs, some nuclear magnetic resonance to figure out what kind of bonds are in a molecule? I'm out.
What?
Never mind.
What are you talking about?
BJ. BJ, wrong stream.
BJ.
That's for Amaranth stream.
Are you her husband?
You remember
No.
how hard chemistry was in college? Is anyone?
I hate
Yes, it was
Oh my
easy.
God, it was terrible.
my
Hey,
God.
I took a science course, okay? And the first day I went in, it was on the phases of the moon.
Was it the science?
No, it was just like it was astronomy. And so
Oh.
it was phases of the moon, and I'm like, oh, I'm good. So I went back one
That's
more
what Maren
class.
Altman does,
I
right?
skipped for 2 weeks and went back, and we had a pre-midterm sort of test. I got a 7 on the test.
Oh gosh.
Because I didn't realize they went from
Out of
phases of the
10?
moon to calculating masses of unseen planets and distant
Oh.
galaxies. And I'm like, bro, I haven't done math in 15 years.
Yeah. Ooh. Wow.
I like the quote, hey, I took a science course, Kelly.
Oh, it was astronomy. That's actually it's astronomy.
That's what Maren Altman does, right?
Yeah, damn it.
Yeah,
You
she's
beat me
called
to
it
that
all.
joke.
Hey, we gotta, calling for
No, she does astrology. That's different than
Same
astronomy.
difference.
Yeah.
Same difference.
whatever.
Planets,
The moon causes problems. I know it's always Mercury's fault. It's always in
planets,
retrograde. It's always
yeah,
causing
Mercury's in
problems. That's what I know.
sunshade.
We got to keep this moving along before we run out of time. I do want to touch on a couple more on-chain analysis that are showing we've bought them. We probably won't do all 6.
Mercury's in the microwave.
This is my favorite.
Yeah. The MVRV is the scores used to assess when Bitcoin is over/undervalued relative to its quote-unquote fair value. And that's something I want to talk with you guys a little bit about as well, is what is Bitcoin's fair value. So this chart here obviously shows we're back in that range of fair value compared to very similar oversold territory or over bought territory here, which is what causes the price to go up. We're just now tapping into oversold or really fair market value. How do you define how do you define fair market value for Bitcoin?
Well,
I have a very distinct way of doing
Well,
it.
in terms of how it is on this chart, actually, you could pull it. This is a good chance to show them one of the free things. If you go to the look on chain, look into Bitcoin, look into bitcoin.com, go to MVRV Z score. It's up at the
Charts.
yeah.
Yeah, give me a second to pull it
And
up.
when you
Oh
pull
no,
this
we're
up,
we're doing the live tutorial.
All right.
Of how to find it.
MVRV
Yeah.
score.
so that'll zoom up. Now you can see on this one, this is the same thing. It's just organized a little differently. You can see on this one, the orange line that's going through the Bitcoin price. Now this Z score, this purple line, is the standard deviations above or below that orange line. And that orange line it's known as realized cap, realized price, cost basis. Those are all different words for the same thing. And essentially, that's what they're talking about as fair value on MVRV, and that's essentially the average price for all Bitcoin the last time it was moved. So when you're above that, this is a great, for me, anybody that has any sort of confusion or curiosity about when's the best time to DCA and not have to worry about really looking into the charts for all the TA, just pulling up the realized price or the realized cap here. Anytime I see price below that, I'm DCAing every dollar I have into crypto because it is proven to be the best times to buy. And you can just hover with your mouse.
I'm not hovering with my mouth.
No,
that's for
yeah,
sure.
hover with your mouth.
Different
Different
show,
stream.
different
Yeah,
show.
different.
No, but you could see up near realized put up near the price. Now scroll down over to the right, like the 2018
right
dip.
here?
Yeah, you see where the price is under that, and then at the March dip for coronavirus to the right.
Oh, we're not allowed to say that.
Yeah, you see that,
we
and
just
then
got
on the right
demonetized.
where we're at now, on the very right, we're under it. So for me, I just look at it. I'm not going to pick the exact bottom. These are excellent times to buy. And so, in terms of my idea of what real fair value is, I think this is a great way to generally look at it from a data perspective. But at the same time, we see prices. Everybody's wondering what's going on with the price. We're also talking about the wrong thing. We're so focused on price, we forget to look at the huge amount of fundamental developments that have happened in the last year. Since March 2020, the amount of transacted value on chain is more than 10x what it was in March of 2020 till now. So the fundamental growth is huge. And price is only 2x, so we're behind on price. So the fair value, I think, is actually somewhere in the $35,000 to $40,000 range, and we can build off that from there. But from a trading perspective, yeah, I think the realized price is a good metric.
Yeah, no, I think this is a great price. And again, the reason they become top and bottom indicators is because exactly what he points out. When it hits here we are, December 2018, boom, bottom. You know, when we come here we are, March 2020. It's where it revisited that bottom. And then same thing here. It's looking like if it moves in this direction, it stays in this range, we're bottoming again. Now, when it comes to fair market value, I've always held the theory that really Bitcoin as a store of value is a store of energy, right? So the energy cost has a big factor in the value of Bitcoin, because when Bitcoin was first created, the way they very first put a monetary value on Bitcoin was somebody in the Bitcoin Talk forum said, like, well, why don't we say, you know, it costs me this much energy, you know, kilowatt hours to mine this Bitcoin. Let's make it, you know, this many Bitcoin for a penny, because that was the actual cost it was to produce it. So the mining cost set the value. And if you look at during a lot of these cycles, mining cost, when we find the true bottom, when the cost to produce a Bitcoin is very close to the cost of an actual Bitcoin. So I actually, just out of curiosity, went and pulled up, you know, the cost of profit, you know, mining in 198 different countries. Obviously, the value of the energy cost in that country makes a huge difference. So I would say the fair market value would be an average of all 200 of these companies. So you can see, obviously, Kuwait, Algeria, Sudan, they have very cheap energy. They can be doing very cheap mining. And to some of the points made earlier in the show, a lot of nation states probably are. It doesn't take long, though, before you get up here.
Kazakhstan. You see Kazakhstan.
Exactly. It doesn't take long before you're in the 12, 14, 15, 16, 18, $20,000 to produce a Bitcoin. So I didn't have time before the show to download all 198 of these and pull an average. I would be very confident probably to say it's going to come in under 20,000, above 10,000. I would think in that $14,000 range.
Me and Nick can set up a satellite office in Kuwait. You know?
I was about to say, Nick, are you buying an airplane ticket on your phone right now?
Hang on, stand by. Okay. I'm on Travelocity.
I think you'll find it's a pretty competitive mining market there, and you can't just walk in and plug in your miners. But you know,
I could pass. I'm passing Kuwaiti.
TJ's just trying to FUD your dreams.
Hey, look, it's okay.
Nick. If you want to go to Kuwait, I'm not going to stop.
People have been trying to FUD my dreams since Dad was born. All right, since 1984. Let's go.
But I think to me, that's what makes, if you come up with, say you do that math, the cost to produce a Bitcoin roughly, say, is around 14,000 across the world right now.
Yeah.
That makes a very strong case for that's fair market value. That's the bottom. And it really won't go lower than that because people will have to mine at a loss. And, you know, realistically, that's where the incentives come into play. And that's what pushes the price back up.
Can I present a question to you all?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I've been thinking about right now, because obviously mining is only going to be going on for another 139, 140 years. But then there's still going to be needing to be processing to make these blocks, you know, process these blocks. But between now and then, there's a sense of a sort of, I don't want to call it a gold rush, but, you know, huge sort of rush for miners to capitalize on having their share of the market so they could do it. Now, right now, when the price is super flat, one of the thoughts I had about this, while the price is super flat and there's not really a lot of money being made, and in some cases losing money because of the oscillations in price and energy, how likely do you think it is that some of these large mining conglomerates are basically driving the hash rate up and the difficulty up so that they can squeeze out people that don't, kind of like Walmart squeezing out the mom and pop stores because they can drive their profit margins? Because like, do you think that's something that's happening, or do you think
100%?
100%.
That's something that's been happening throughout Bitcoin for a long time. I mean, obviously when Bitcoin started, you could mine it on your computer with a CPU. Then fun fact, Laszlo, I can't remember his last name, best known for being a Bitcoin pizza guy, also was the guy who invented GPU mining. He was the first person ever to say, like, wait a minute, if I can do this with my CPU, what could I do with my GPU? And you know, and started overclocking GPUs. And what you could GPU mined Bitcoin, and then it got to ASICs, and then it got to conglomerates, and it, the cost of mining Bitcoin yourself, you're talking, $10,000+ just to even have a shot. Realistically, it's probably even more than that these days.
For Bitcoin, yeah.
Yeah, to try to get, to actually not, to mine it on your own.
Yeah.
Obviously, pools get involved, and then there's other incentives with pools. So I think 100% you're seeing, it's the same thing that's happening with energy. Forget Bitcoin for a minute. Like, look at what's happening with energy around the world right now. People are pushing the scarcity of it up. They're cutting the supplies off. Like, these are choices by economic leaders around the world to say, we have this asset, we want it to be more scarce so we can sell it at a higher dollar or a higher value, I guess you should say. Maybe not always dollars, but and it's the same thing we're doing with our dollar. So the relation between energy costs and Bitcoin, they are as correlated as you could ever be. They are linked. Bitcoin is a store of energy value, and that's what a lot of people don't really understand about Bitcoin yet. But it's getting more, the maxis do. They've been talking about this for a long time. If you want to learn about this, look up Dan Held Bitcoin Energy Talk or keynote or something like that. You'll find it. He's got a lot that he said about Bitcoin as a store of energy more than anything else. And that's what everybody's trying to do. If you have a safe place to store your energy and value, then you can get it back in the future. That's really what savings is in a lot of ways. So
shout out to Crypto Junkie, first time in the chat. What's up, buddy?
hey, another first timer. Awesome.
That's right.
We'll have
TJ, Riddled with Puns says, have you read Digital Gold?
I have read Digital Gold.
All
Love
right.
that book.
Ah,
And
there it
actually,
is.
They specifically said, sounds like.
You know what I meant.
Yeah.
You know what I meant.
Now we know TJ reads nerd.
I used to read
books.
a lot of, and that's a fun thing. I think a lot of people should know their Bitcoin history.
Yep.
Digital Gold, Bitcoin Billionaires, Internet of Money, and Bitcoin Standard. Everybody should read those books.
And I'm going to make it my mission as we're rebuilding and building out BitLab Academy. One of the things that we're going to be doing is having throughout each month, having basically masterclasses and expert talks from people from all different portions of crypto and economy. And my goal is to have some of these authors come in there, and this is all going to be part of the BitLab Academy membership. So definitely keep your eyes out for that.
And that's also the main thrust of catching up to crypto.
Yeah.
There you go. Well,
Make sure you pre-order that Amazon.
and we might end up doing our own little book club down here too, because I think everybody should read Digital Gold and Bitcoin Billionaires. Just and they're very easy reads, by the way. They're story written.
Wait, are there pictures?
There's no pictures.
So they're not
DJ.
that easy reads.
No, they're not that easy. They're not anime.
That's not a bad idea.
Do you read pictures unless you're talking about hieroglyphics?
Emojis?
Wow. Really?
Yeah, got them. We're running out of time here, so I want to touch on. We're going to skip a couple of these other indicators. I do want to touch on the Nupal real quick, and then
I bet you do.
Yeah, we always everybody loves touching Nupals.
Yeah.
So this is one of a very good indicator, very strong indicator, very easy. Speaking of easy, this one is a picture. It does have colors, BJ, so it's very easy to understand, and it's pretty simple. It's the net unrealized profit and loss shows capitulation, which everybody knows that's what you're looking for at the bottom. When is everybody capitulating? Interestingly, Bitcoin never quite reached a state of euphoria and greed during the last market top. So if you remember, if you watched the BitBoy Crypto live show for a long time, we were watching the Nupal, waiting for it to hit that euphoric stage like we've seen. We saw it here. We saw it here in 2013 and 14. It just breached into it in 2017 before coming back down, but never really did in 2020 and 2021, just had that double top. So the data set is also becoming less volatile over time, much like Bitcoin's price itself. That's diminished returns it's referring to. And the Nupal is the difference between relative unrealized profit and relative unrealized loss. Meaning, unrealized means somebody's got it in their account, they've watched the price go really far up or really far down, and they haven't actually sold anything yet. They haven't realized the profit or the loss. And so when you're looking at the chart, you can see, when the price is going up, you're getting a lot of people into high profit. This is when people are right in this range, you're screenshotting your portfolio and sending it to your buddy like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is real.
I never did that.
Well, guess what? It's not real until you realize
and your
those
cab
profits.
driver's asking you about it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like you hear
That's the
people
sign.
talking about it on the street.
Top signal.
Right.
Classic
Everybody's talking
top
about
signal.
Doge. Somebody at the gym comes up and says, I've got 1 million sheep. what should I do when it hits $1? And you're just shaking your head. You don't really know what to
sell
say
it right now.
Now,
Yeah.
I do want to say though, we did not reach the state of euphoria in this last market cycle top. However,
Yeah.
we have to that's the first point in history with Bitcoin that we really had to start realizing the broader context. I mean, there's a lot of people that are looking into monetary policy, general economics, traditional finance, all basically with their gateway in being understanding crypto. A lot of people, especially in my generation, I'm 38, so the 40 and younger sort of, really starting to look into this. And I think that's right about the time, November, I think is where our top was, right? 69,000.
Nice.
So that's right about the time when the dominoes started falling on our economy, where there was stuff happening with housing, with interest rates, with quantitative easing was starting to stop. The bond buybacks were starting to stop. And so although there's a lot of talk about diminishing returns, I still suggest that there's still going to be at least one more cycle that we're actually going to have an explosion in adoption that's going to bring us back to where we're having these hugely euphoric moments. And that might be a catalyst of, Apple and Amazon in some major country, taking on Bitcoin at the same time in the right part of the cycle. I don't know what it's going to be, but I don't think we're done having explosive rallies. I don't think it's going to happen in every rally in the future, but we are still going to have that huge euphoric sort of blow off, I think, at some point.
TJ, can you pull that chart back up real quick?
Well, BJ can.
BJ.
Fine.
Hold on, real quick.
Go, AJ.
This guy thinks that it's not going to matter because quantum compute.
I saw that.
It's going to ruin everything no matter what. But do you know what
How
crypto
far
project?
off that
Hold on.
technology is?
Do you know what crypto project is working on quantum resistance?
God.
Wait, tell us, AJ.
Algorand.
Oh my God.
There you go.
So
I didn't show my coin.
There you go.
I will say, we can definitely have that discussion. I don't know if we have time to get into it today. We
don't.
What is our runtime right now, BJ? Approximately
46 minutes. It's also a very binary argument.
Oh,
Because the up and down spin.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Like,
matter because quantum computers.
The quantum computing hacking Bitcoin narrative is not new. That's something that's been around a long
old
time.
bud.
Yup.
There's a lot of reasons and incentives and kind of game theory to believe. There's really it's disincentivizing to hack Bitcoin. Quantum computings are way off. We can still update the SHA-256 algorithm to compete, to handle quantum computing. Also, quantum computers could be used to mine Bitcoin, which would up the hash. And there's a lot to that to dig into that we don't have time today. But real quick before we wrapped up, I did want to touch one more. We will come back to the chart because I wanted to touch on it one more time too. Kind of what Kelly was referring to, where we didn't in this section here, we didn't get the euphoric top, we didn't get the cycle we were anticipating. This is pure conjecture on my part. I think it's because somewhere in this cycle is when big money and institutions did wake up, whether it was El Salvador, trying to make Bitcoin legal tender, that got the IMF's attention. And somewhere around the world, I think they decided they were ready to start positioning for digital assets. So they need to cut this market short so they can get in position. And then we will see, I think, a very explosive next cycle because they will be positioned to, the big money, the smart money, as they say, will be positioned to make a lot of it. So, they are incentivized to push it up. So go ahead.
Here's the thing that dovetails with that. So if you look at that chart again, BJ, what was happening?
Oh, nice wood building joke.
Hey,
There you go.
Oh my God.
if you look at what was happening in 2020, what was the government doing like crazy then? They were printing more money that has ever been printed in the entire lifespan of the US dollar as a fiat currency.
Yep.
So we have these tremendous inflationary headwinds with all this money devaluing the current supply. The M1 money supply looks like M2 money supply looks like a hockey stick.
Yeah.
So what's happening right now, all of that monopoly money that got pumped into the system, all of that's being destroyed now.
Yep.
So it stands to reason that if we never hit euphoria this time, the euphoria for the next cycle, once all the bad money is gone, is going to be even bigger.
I also think some of the euphoria was taken away, like in the October pump last year when the metaverse coins like sand and
coin,
everything just ripped through. All that market cap in the past cycles would have been in Bitcoin, but
And that's
the house
what
got
Chemistry
divided
Bro and
so
other
much
people were
that it
saying.
took away from Bitcoin's pump.
True.
Yeah.
That's so true. Yeah. Chemistry Bro is nailing it around the head.
Thanks, Chemistry Bro.
Well, there you go. I do want to give you guys a quick. Obviously, we use Glassnode to pull up a lot of these indicators. You, like Kelly said earlier in the show, you're going to have to learn how to do this yourself. think for yourself and make your own decisions. So we know everybody can't afford it. We did want to give you guys some shout outs. These were some resources that Kelly mentioned. This is lookintobitcoin.com. It's one we just did. We pulled up the chart. It was very similar to what you're going to see on Glassnode.
All kind of different charts on there. Yeah.
So
and explanations.
What's some of your, what do you use this website for?
I mean, I use it primarily. I used it before I had access to Glassnode and stuff like that. And I still go on there sometimes if I'm sharing, because I don't always want to share materials through my Twitter where I share a lot of content there. I don't always want to share Glassnode. I try to use free tools as well, so people know that you don't just have to follow an analyst to get this data. You can find this data yourself, and you can use stuff like, go to stuff like BitLab Academy to learn about it, but you can also go to these websites and learn about those specific charts. So just go up to the top right chart section and you can go through and just explore different charts and just get familiar with them.
There you go. And then we've also got check. So here's look into Bitcoin chart section. He's talking about very simple, all kinds of options there. We've got check on chain, which is another on chain analysis website, correct?
Yeah, it has on chain mining, supply, all kind. You just go down and it has information about those as you pull them up as well. So it's just a great way, free tool. Now I will say the difference between the free tools and the paid tools is the paid tools gets data all the way to as current as possible, where the free tools, and I don't think it's that big of a deal because on-chain stuff is more macro anyway, but it might be only current all the way up until about 4 to 6 days back. So you won't get the last little less than a week, but you're not using this to pick an absolute entry point. This is broad macro sort of data. So it shouldn't really affect your use on it.
And then CoinGlass here is a website, especially if you're a trader, looks like open interest on futures and things like that across different exchanges.
Go up to the top. You can also do liquidation datas. You can see it's all the way at the very top.
My data is in liquidation all the time.
Next to funding rate. Go on.
Keep going.
In the middle.
So you can see, if you scroll down just a little bit, you can see keep going.
Enhance.
There's a graph.
Oh.
Yeah. So you can see, and you can do just Bitcoin. You can do other different symbols. You can do in the last 12 hours. So you can see.
Look at August.
Yeah, it's just crazy. So you can see people just getting liquidated. This gives you great data. And this is all stuff that we're covering all this on BitLab Academy. How to use this to your advantage when you're trying to pick entries, exits, or your
looks like the market ate a lot of the last dab during August.
Also, real quick before we get going here, to go to the chat real fast. Does the team like H-Bar? I think so.
Yeah.
Right? We like H-Bar. Kelly's Twitter handle is Kelly Kellum.
Yep.
Yeah, at Kelly Kellum, KLOY KELLAM.
And also Quasar lit Gala or Sand for next bull run. My answer is Algorand.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Gala or Sand for next bull run. That's an interesting
Definitely
one.
it's not interesting. It's Gala.
I would say Gala.
That's Sand.
Because
I would say Sand.
Well, here's why. Because the metaverse.
we got 2 Gala, 2 Sand. Am I going to be the tiebreaker?
The metaverse is, I still think, 4 to 6 years away.
The metaverse is
from
GTA
really
5.
having some massive.
I agree
games.
with that too.
Metaverse is already here.
Yeah, it's GTA 5. Everybody
yeah.
else missed. Like all Grand Theft Auto needs to do is add in crypto earning, and everybody else is.
They do.
They're working on it.
Gala will survive the bear market.
Do you know what just started? It's
the answer is all of them.
A Grand Theft Auto crypto server, Neoxa. Anyways, I'm not even kidding, and they're doing it for GTA 6. Evan Coons won, first time in the chat. Welcome.
Hey, all right.
And Raz Mataz.
And then, guys, just so you know, part of the reason we're doing this Twitch only is to help build the Twitch or the crypto community on Twitch. So if you guys know of anybody else, if you have anybody you recommend,
we got to raid somebody.
Yeah, we do need to do a raid after this. We're also working with Evan Aldo. If you guys don't follow his channel on Twitch, definitely go check him out. Crypto Weatherman. I don't think Crypto Vet was necessarily in our group, but awesome person. And there was one other one.
I mean, he's okay.
Yeah,
no, he's pretty awesome.
He's a nice guy. You know, works hard, puts out good content. Go check out his channel.
Answers
for sure.
my text at 2 in the morning
he's
when
my
I have
partner
vet
on my
questions.
crypto podcast, Crypto Answered.
Love it.
Crypto Vet said he thinks he's a dick.
Also, real fast, Razmataz says Sand has like 40 regular players on it. Well, that's not true.
No, they're mixed up with
I just did a whole thing on this. I'm doing a script for Mana. And Dap Radar defines the active users by who interacts with the smart contract. So to make an analogy, if for Call of Duty video games and 1,000 people bought a new skin, they would be saying 1,000 people play the game when really the game has 100,000 players.
Right.
So it's not who interacts with the smart contracts. That doesn't count for how many people actually use it.
Knowing your metrics and how they come to
that
that
was a
metrics
hit
is
piece.
important.
They,
Yeah.
they were,
It
try-
was a hit
they were
piece.
trying to find a data
Yep.
point that says
Exactly.
nobody's using this. In reality,
But
it's
I
like being
bought
at the
mana
mall.
when I saw
Not
that.
true
You
at
know,
all.
you have 100,000 people walk through a mall in a day, but only 100 people bought something. They're saying only 100 people are at the mall.
Right.
Liars.
But I'm pretty
Right,
sure
right.
that was around Decentraland Mana, correct?
Mana,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes,
not Sand.
Sandbox.
But Sand was brought into the conversation
Sure.
too. They had a little bit more of the skewed that radar.
yeah, no, Sand definitely has a lot of active players, a lot of active development on it. And if I had to choose a token, believe it or not, I would probably choose Sand.
That's right.
Because I think Gala, to answer the other guy's question, I definitely think Gala will survive the bear market. I do think they will be a relevant player in Web3 gaming. I think they've got great games. I think they're partnering with great game studios. And I think they understand it. If you know who the founder is, he created Farmville. He kind of pioneered mobile gaming, which I think will be big for Web3 gaming. That being said, and that's why I think they'll do a good job. They're a gaming company trying to figure out crypto instead of a crypto company trying to figure out gaming. That being said, a lot of the tokenomics in their early games, you know, they're completely independent from the Gala token, and they're struggling to find a good use case for Gala across all the different games. I think they will, but they're not there yet, and it's going to take some time. Whereas Sand, they're much more singular focus, one game, one metaverse, Roblox style, pixel style art, get people in here, create environments, communities, and places for people to engage. And it's similarly, but you do have a need for Sand to interact within the sandbox. You don't have to, but it's much more defined than the way Gala is right now. That would be my
Also,
2
if we're
cents.
going to raid somebody, apparently the Sandstorm meetup is literally playing in Sandbox.
Let's do
right
it. Speaking of the
Raid 'em.
Sandstorm
Do it?
meetup,
Yeah.
Speaking of Sandbox and Sandstorm, Sandstorm is actually a company and a project that builds completely within the Sandbox space. They have tons of builders. They do build competitions. Great community within Sandbox. They do it for big brands that are getting into this metaverse, which is part of why I know it is relevant and big brands are coming. So yeah, let's rate them right now. Let's see
Rate
what
them.
they're up to.
So I guess we say bye.
Bye. We'll be back tomorrow, 1:00 Blockchain Basement, hosted by this guy, Mr. Nicky D with the glasses.
That's right. Crypto sunglasses.
Comedian Truth,
Crypto
aka
sunglasses.
Yeah.
Let's
Anything
go.
else? Let's go.
Let's go. Okay, bye.